World History Discussions, Chapter 6, Part 5. We were just talking about Mayan warfare and how, yes, they would conquer civilizations and take over their temples. However, warfare was not so much about killing enemies as it was about capturing them in hand-to-hand combat on battlefields. And then they would bring back important high-ranking captives from neighboring and rival kingdoms. Keep these people alive for years, usually. However, eventually those captives usually either ended up as slaves or they would be sacrificed to the gods. Now, I have talked about all the different periods of Mayan civilization. We had the early Mayan with their capital at Juyu, and then we had classical Maya, 300 to 700, with their capital at Tikal. But then, from after about 800 CE, Mayan civilization was in decline everywhere except for Chichen Itza, way to the north, which is about 300 miles north of Tikal and 600 miles north of Juyu. There's many possible causes for the decline of the Mayan Empire from about 800 to 1000. Warfare with foreigners from Mexico, disease, drought. One of my sources, not this textbook, said that around the year 660, significantly less rainfall in Central America could have led to drought or famine. Remember our catchy opener, the guy that was spilling his blood in Palenque, that was in the year 683, and spilling blood was in order to make the rains fall, so maybe that was directly related to the droughts. But anyway, nobody really knows why the Mayans declined. Just eventually people abandoned their cities, and long distance trade with Mexico declined. And basically after about the year 1000, tropical jungles reclaimed the land, swallowing up most of the cities and temples. Now, later in this chapter we'll talk about Teotihuacan, which was destroyed in 750, and I'm guessing that they had some trade relations with the Mayans, so maybe cutting off that trade also ended the Mayans after 800. I'm just making inferences. I'm not entirely sure, but in any case, I will show you a picture of one of the Mayan temples in the jungles of what is now Guatemala. And in the next discussion, we'll talk about Mayan social classes and hierarchies.